getting messier and messier. It's almost like Wendy Williams didn't go anywhere. She just got.
You want to be a me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm going to out of you when I see you.
Getting messier and messier. It's almost like Wendy Williams didn't go anywhere. She just got you want to be me now. So, I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me. Oh, Lord, have mercy. If you said that one more time, I'm going to out of you when I see you. This week in the world of entertainment, the internet has been set on fire. And it's all thanks to one name, Shannon Sharpe. Oh yes, the former NFL legend turned viral podcaster is in the hot seat and the drama just keeps spiraling. What started off as whispers quickly exploded into a circus of jokes, shade, and clapbacks. Everyone's got something to say, but it was D.L. Hugley, comedian and longtime truth-teller, who threw one of the first and funniest punches. Hugley slid into the social media app Threads with a kind of subtle but lethal shade that only a seasoned comic could deliver. He wrote, "Shannon better be glad Shannon ain't interviewing Shannon on Club Shay." Now, pause for a second and really let that one sink in. It's a disc wrapped in sarcasm dipped in satire, and it's all aimed straight at the allegations hanging over Shannon's head. The joke implies that if Shannon ever had to sit across from himself on his own podcast, he'd be sweating bullets. And that was just the beginning. Let's rewind because this drama didn't just pop up overnight. Hugley has a history with Shannon Sharpe. He's had issues with Club Shay for a while now. He's called it toxic, messy, and even harmful. In fact, he once compared Shannon to Wendy Williams, but instead of a wig and a tea mug, he said Shannon was Wendy with a weight bench. Now, that's a burn with some muscle. In a past interview with Vlad TV, Hugley doubled down on his refusal to ever appear on Shannon's podcast. Not for clout, not for a bag, not for a viral moment. Going to do it. And it kept my schedule. It just didn't work out. But I'm glad I didn't. I thought it gotta be too messy. And I said it out loud. I think for a while, Club S was like Wendy Williams with a weight set, right? Like, man, this dude. I mean, he even admitted that he was supposed to go on the show at one point, way before the Cat Williams chaos, but something told him not to do it. He stayed away, and he says he's glad he did. No hate, no jealousy, just his own moral compass telling him, this ain't it. Speaking of Cat Williams, he might have accidentally kicked off this whole wildfire. When he appeared on Club Shay earlier this year, he didn't just spill tea, he flooded the table. He called out fellow comedians like Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and others, accusing them of stealing jokes and being industry gatekeepers. It was bold. It was messy. It was YouTube breaking. As of now, Cat's interview sits at a jaw-dropping 89 million views, and it might be the most talked about podcast episode in recent memory. But it didn't stop there. Right after Cat shook the table, Shannon invited none other than Monique onto his show. And Monique, being Monique, didn't hold back either. She brought up old feuds with Hugley, Tyler Perry, and even Oprah. It was like watching someone dig up every Hollywood beef from the past decade and throw it all in a pot to simmer. And now with a new allegation swirling around Shannon, clips from those past interviews are resurfacing. And people are starting to ask, did Cat and Monique see this coming? Were they warning us all along? One moment from Monique's episode really stands out. Shannon tried to talk about dating in today's world. And Monique basically told him, boy, sit down. You're too old for this mess. Grateful I'm not 56 and trying. Are you trying to say? What you trying to say? I'm looking right at you. I ain't backing down. You better take your and get somebody to love you. Damn. Now I'm looking right at you. Let me tell you all what Shannon need. Let me tell you what my baby need. He need him a old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who going to rub his feet at the night time, okay? And going to have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon need. You don't need number 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old out there that can love you old. You're trying to hang out with these young. You can't do it, Sandy. You just can't do it. When they want you to go for the 4th round, you looking at her like, listen, I need you want some money to go to Starbucks because I can't go no further. But if you get an older girl when you get to that 4th round, she going to say, hold on. Hold on. As you can see, she gave him straight-up anti-realness. She told him to stop chasing 20-someths who don't even know how to season chicken and instead find himself a woman who knows how to cook smothered turkey wings, bake a good pound cake, and rub his football-worn feet at night. "This is your Annie talking," she said. And it wasn't advice, it was a sermon. And then Cat Williams came through with another warning, this time about dating white women. He brought up the Jonathan Major situation as a cautionary tale. Not out of hate, but out of fear. He said, "I didn't want to date a white woman, not because I didn't like them, but because I'm scared. Scared I might end up running down the street like Jonathan Majors." The room got quiet, and everyone watching knew that wasn't just a joke. That was real. A white woman because I was scared she might have me running down the street like Jonathan Double D. Not because I didn't like white women. I think white women are as great as any other women. But I'm not going to act like I'm not scared of them. I have a reason to be scared. You could be Kong the Conqueror, and they could take your rabbit down in 2 weekends. And that's the truth of the matter, getting messy as it's like Wendy Williams with a shake weight and a lisp. Puffy got in trouble, man. Puppy went from Puffy to P. Diddy to Diddy. In my experience, his name that many times has did a lot of now. If you're one of those people who hasn't been keeping up with the latest headlines, buckle up because this story is about to take you on a wild and deeply unsettling ride. Shannon Sharpe is now facing a jaw-dropping lawsuit that's shaking up the internet. A young white woman who now works as an OnlyFans model has accused Shannon of the R-word, emotional mistreatment and coercion, and is demanding a whopping $50 million in damages along with a trial by jury. And here's the kicker. When we say young, we're talking about teenage young when their alleged relationship first began. And it only gets darker because this isn't just a scandal about age gaps and celebrity gossip. It dives head first into some of the most disturbing territory you can imagine. According to the lawsuit, Shannon allegedly pressured this young woman into participating in something known as race play, a disturbing kink that plays on racial stereotypes and dynamics often rooted in historical trauma. And while we can't go into too much detail here, let's just say it's the kind of thing that makes most people deeply uncomfortable, especially when there's a power imbalance involved. YouTube won't even let creators explain it in depth, so that should tell you something. But this woman, Gabriella Zuniga, claims it wasn't just about roleplay. It crossed over into coercion and non-consensual behavior. She says she initially agreed to some of the fantasy elements, but then withdrew her consent as things became more extreme. Yet, Shannon allegedly kept pushing, which turned an already questionable relationship into something far more sinister. Now, his reputation, once built on being a voice of integrity and strength, is crumbling before our eyes. The internet isn't offering him sympathy either. Fans are shaking their heads saying he had all the warnings in the world, even from Cat Williams himself, and he still fumbled everything. For someone almost 60 years old to be caught up in this kind of controversy, people are stunned. And if you thought it couldn't get any worse, let me tell you, it can. The lawsuit filed in Clark County, Nevada, is packed with disturbing accusations. Gabriella, who is now 19, says Shannon intimately mistreated her twice, verbally and emotionally manipulated her, recorded their private moments without her knowledge, and even threatened her life. The alleged mistreatment took place during their brief yet intense relationship that began in 2023 when Shannon was 54 and Gabriella was just barely legal. That age gap alone raises major eyebrows. Even if everything had been consensual, which she claims it absolutely wasn't, many still feel like the power imbalance and racial undertones make the relationship predatory and exploitative. Gabriella could literally be his granddaughter. That's not just inappropriate, it's deeply unsettling. Text messages included in the lawsuit paint a troubling picture of what their relationship may have looked like behind closed doors. Gabriella reportedly asked for $25,000 per cheek. Yes, those cheeks. Suggesting a transactional and degrading dynamic. There were also messages referencing her wanting Shannon's big black baby, a comment that many believe points directly to Shannon's alleged racial fetishization. Let's be honest, what 19-year-old white girl randomly says something like that unless someone older, more powerful, and more experienced is influencing her? The whole thing reeks of manipulation and fans are calling it out for exactly what it looks like. Disturbing behavior masked as adult entertainment. And all this is happening to a man who built his brand on resilience, honesty, and coming from nothing. Born in Chicago on June 26, 1968, and raised in the rural South by his grandmother, Shannon Sharpe's early life was marked by poverty, loss, and hardship. He wore hand-me-downs, worked in the fields, and used sports as a way